Hey guys, my name is Adam Everett Miller, and this video is a quick overview with a few of the key guidelines for creating screencast video content for Tuts Plus. We have complete written guidelines here on authors.tutsplus.com, which have much more information than I'm covering here in this video. But I thought it would be nice for me to address some of the most common issues that authors often overlook. First things first, this is the Tuts Plus network, not the Tuts Plus network. I know we make tutorials and not tutorials, but who would really want to go to a website called Mobile Tuts? Just be sure that as you're introducing the website, you say your name and that it's for Tuts Plus. Hey everybody, this is Adam for Tuts Plus. In this tutorial, we're going to learn about, you get the idea. If you say it incorrectly, we're going to have to reject it. Seriously. Okay, as you know, we are a network of educational sites, each site having a number of authors from all over the world. Well, you can imagine the difficulty we run into trying to maintain consistency in quality with hundreds of tutorials and screencasts that go up each month. Some of our authors have high-end professional studios to record in, while others, and I would say the majority, are recording in their basement or home office. Because of this, we have to be on the same page when it comes to recording your voice. Just using a cheap webcam microphone or your Apple earbuds unfortunately won't cut it. We require that you use a nice microphone. This means that the payment from your first tutorial might end up paying for this purchase, but it's crucial that you get a hold of a quality microphone. I personally use the Behringer B2 Pro, which cost me about $150, along with the Blue Icicle XLR to USB adapter. We have a few other recommendations for microphones in the author guide under the audio section. Make sure that the location you're recording in is in a heavy traffic area. Turn off the air conditioning, shut a window, make sure your cell phone's on silent. Whatever you can do to minimize extra distracting noise. Inevitably, there will be a little background hum in your audio track, and that's fine. We actually have some tips on how to clean up your audio track and remove background noise. Also, coughs, yawns, or that long, awkward pause of time when you have to go search online because you forgot how to do something. While we're talking about recording your voice, let me quickly address your presentation and energy level. If you've been up all night preparing for your tutorial and you're about ready to fall asleep as you hit record, I can just tell you right now, you're wasting your time. You're going to sound exhausted and disinterested in what you're talking about. If you don't sound like you care what you're talking about, why should somebody else? Here at Tuts Plus, we believe learning should be fun, not a chore you have to get through. As an author, you need to be excited about what you're teaching. Smile. It may feel a little funny, but I promise you can hear a smile. Besides, you're helping people, and you should feel good about that. If you run your own blog or website or have an awesome company, that's great. But the video you're creating is for Tuts Plus, and the actual tutorial video itself isn't the right place to promote yourself. We love to showcase our authors' work and send traffic to their site, but we do this through the author profiles on Tuts Plus, not the screencast video tutorials themselves. So please don't tell people all about your personal website or blog within the video. On the same topic, you don't need to include the Tuts Plus logo at the beginning or end of your screencast. If this logo is included in the preview itself that you're covering, that's one thing, but otherwise, we'll take care of any other start or end slates as needed. Another thing I'm going to mention about presentation, and this is one of the most common problems that I see happen, is don't start your screencast by apologizing. Hey guys, this is my first tutorial, so I'm sorry if it's really bad. Let's just see what happens. That's such a common thing to do when you're feeling insecure. I feel like I'm bad at this, so if I insult myself right away, then they won't have the opportunity to insult me. Don't do this. You don't sound nearly as dumb as you may think you do. We're all learning together. No one knows it all. And honestly, if you really don't feel comfortable recording a screencast, then maybe a written tutorial is a better option for you. Just because you're creating a video and showing people how to do something doesn't mean that you don't also have to tell them what you're doing. Don't just hit record and then do 3 or 4 steps without explaining what hotkey you just pushed or how to access that part of the software. Practice working out loud. It makes for a much more effective tutorial. Many authors will actually script out their entire tutorial because it's easier for them to read through a script and then record their actions separately, later editing the two together. I know for myself, speaking for a recording comes a bit more naturally, just because I've gotten a lot of practice and I always have enjoyed teaching and public speaking. I'll typically have a piece of paper with some bullet-pointed notes that I want to cover in the tutorial, but that's about it. When it comes to presenting naturally, this is one of those areas that's really difficult to nail down because we each communicate quite differently. It can be very daunting when you first hit record and have to start talking. I always try to keep in mind that nobody's judging me right now. This is just a recording, not a live event. Don't get stressed out and beat yourself up. You can always pause, take a breath, think things through a little bit, and then jump back in. It only takes one small edit to make things feel fluid and smooth. Okay, I will tell you that every time I sit down, every single time, even now, as I go to do a tutorial, I get super nervous. It just happens. You build it up in your brain and start freaking yourself out a little bit. To solve this, I'll typically record the tutorial 2 or 3 times. After you've gone through it once or twice, all the way through, it's going to feel much more natural since you already know exactly what you got to cover. When it comes to voiceover work, I'll typically ask the client if they want it to be said or read, casual and conversational, or formal and scripted. We want our tutorials to be said, coming from you, your words. That should be the goal with how you deliver. All right, let's move on to some technical aspects of recording your screen. Personally, I found Camtasia Studio Pro to be the best quality screen recording software out there. I've just been using it for years, and it's super dependable. A few other options you might want to consider would be ScreenFlow, or using QuickTime's screen recording feature. There are also some web apps like Screener or Screencast-O-Matic. Take a look around and see which one tickles your fancy. We require all screencasts to be 1280 by 720 resolution. This doesn't just mean submitted at that resolution, it actually means recorded at this resolution. I know this can be a little difficult if you have a larger screen. The problem is that some authors record their full screen and then shrink it down when they export the video down to 1280 by 720. Well, this means that the interface of your software is going to be way too small and difficult to see. And if you're trying to show what you're typing out, it's just not going to be visible. So you either need to go into your display settings and change your screen resolution to 1280 by 720, or as close as you can get to this resolution with your screen, so that you're able to record full screen. Or if you don't want to mess around with all those settings, just go and set your screen capture region to 1280 by 720 and make sure that you fit your software within this window of space. When it comes time to export your video, I recommend that you render it out as uncompressed as you're able to. Your screen recording software is made for recording screens, not necessarily for compressing video. So from Camtasia, I'm going to choose Share, Advanced Export, and then QuickTime Movie. Under Options, you can choose Animation. Change the quality to Best, and make sure the frame rate's at 15. This is going to give you a pretty huge video file, but that's fine. You should download the program Handbrake. It's a free video conversion tool. Open up the large uncompressed tutorial in Handbrake and set the output to MP4 with the H.264 codec selected, which will then compress the file size down to make it easier to submit while keeping a really great quality. Take a look at the file size difference between this tutorial that I exported directly from Camtasia versus the one that I used Handbrake on. Pretty noticeable difference. Please save yourself some time and make sure that you don't overlook these simple rules. We can't accept content that violates these guidelines. I don't want for you to have to go back and redo stuff just because you rush through things. If you say Tuts and not Tuts, we can't take it. Make sure your audio is up to par. Check your tutorial dimensions. Again, let me just say that these are only a few of the guidelines that we require of our authors when creating content. Authors.tutsplus.com has the full guidelines, as well as an in-depth course holding your hand through the entire process. If you have any questions along the way, we're ready and waiting to help you out. We're super excited that you're on board as a Tuts Plus author as we continue to help the creative world learn and earn online.